Enough is enough is enough is enough. I am tired of the AGL Ginyu slander I am seeing on the timeline. So Twitter, you will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy on the entire internet. But anyway, we could talk all day about the scum and villainy of Twitter. I think what's important here, now this is a no item run against the Ultimate Red Zone, so we're up against Omega. Now I think the AGL Ginyu team actually matches up quite well in this fight. So I plan, at least the plan, right, is to no item the Red Zone stages. So all of them that I possibly can, right? I think the next one I'm going to do is sell Max. I think Broly can be done. I imagine it has been done. And actually, I have come 1 health bar away from beating Cell Max, right? The Red Zone Cell Max with this team. I think the problem with Ginyu's team, in terms of the no item run, I feel like the tough part with Ginyu's team is, number one, I mean, he's a fairly old unit, right? We know he's about a year old at this point, you know, give or take a little bit. If you're on Global, he's a little under a year old. If you're on JP, he's a little over a year old. So that in and of itself, right, it's kind of a dated leader skill. It was the first 200% Terrifying Conqueror's leader skill. So, for instance, this is the only leader skill, like 200% leader skill, that Int Bojack fits on. And I think the way that it is meant to be run is mostly a lot of Ginyu Force. So if you look at AGL Ginyu, he's actually receiving 10% attack and defense per Ginyu Force ally on the team, up to 50%. So that basically means to max out Ginyu himself, you want 5 Ginyu Force allies. Now remember, that does include the friend. So what that means is to max out Ginyu, you need all Ginyu units except for 1 to max him out. So I think in a lot of cases, I think the best way to do it is you run all Ginyu Force and then you throw on, you know, one of the golden freezes is usually a pretty good recipe to have like a really solid, you know, tanky team. But I think definitely in doing all of these no item attempts with Ginyu's team, is Ginyu, when you're running 2 Ginyus, which is, Ginyu is of course a unit that stacks defense. And again, he does power up for every Ginyu Force member, but he stacks defense. He's not inherently starting with a lot of defense, right? But again, you just saw a big time heal right there. That was just after, you know, stacking. So how much defense do we have right there? A little over 300,000. So we went, you know, from, I don't know, 20% HP up to around 55% HP just from collecting some orbs, of course. So I think this thing where Ginyu stacks and you're running 2 of them, that of course can be problematic. So usually you're going to want 1 on rotation because you need them to stack defense, because Ginyu is a big time part of the team. And then basically it boils down to Ginyu getting a bunch of stacks, and then Raccoon and Goldo. Now Raccoon and Goldo, still a top tier banner unit, probably still a top 10 banner unit in the game. I'd have to actually really sit down and think about it, but in terms of defensive walls, they're still amongst the best, especially when you're running them with another Ginyu Force ally on the team. They've got guard. When their guard is activated, they're getting an additional 50% defense on top of their baseline attack and defense, which when they are fully built up after getting hit 5 times, they're basically like 230% attack and defense. They can get you the 1-turn stun, which is of course useful in some of these red zone fights, right? Definitely useful. Now it's not useful against, you know, Cell Max, for instance, but it can be useful in some of these tough fights, right? So oftentimes the first opponent can be stunned, sealed, attack lowered, you know, some really useful things. So getting Raccoon and Goldo, kind of another piece of the RNG pie with this Ginyu Force team, is you have to, basically it's like a necessity, is you have to start the fight with Raccoon and Goldo. You want them built up as fast as humanly possible. And then kind of, I feel like the third and final piece of the Ginyu Force pie is Birder and Jice. Right? So Birder and Jice, man, you love them and you hate them. Birder and Jice, so they are really good when they dodge. and when they don't dodge, they get touched up pretty good. So that's pretty much the long and the short of it. The other nice thing they do aside from dodging is their monster support when Ginyu's on rotation. So when there is a Ginyu on rotation, they're providing a 60% support to all allies. And then otherwise, they're providing 30% support to space traveling warriors. So overall, just a really, I mean, that's a really solid core. I mean, again, I know the units they're aging, of course, at this point. You know, no unit in the game is immune to the aging process. You even look at like Tech Ultimate Gohan. He is absolutely vulnerable early in fights. You know, you can't just rock 100k with guard and expect to be good, right? But that being said, you know, you start talking about 300k, 400k defense, and you actually are looking pretty good. You can tank most attacks in the entire game if you're guarding with high defense. Or if you're Birder and Jice and you're dodging, right? So those, of course, are really, really nice. They're nice units, right? And then you've got AGL Ginyu. You know, another thing that I think people just do not talk about enough with this AGL Ginyu is we're about to see it right here. I don't know if I save it, or do I save it here? I think I probably save it, knowing myself. Considering we have type advantage against this Sin Shenron, I feel like saving it is the move here. And we do have a fair amount of health. We can get some decent healing with the orbs there. So Captain Ginyu, what I was getting to is he's got the active skill, right? The Goku Ginyu body change, you know, quote-unquote transformation, exchange, whatever the hell you want to call it. But you get a monstrous heal, a mid-battle heal. You can get this starting from the 4th turn when your HP is 70% or less, so it's not the worst condition in the world, particularly in challenging content. 59% heal, you know, midway through a fight or, you know, near the end of a fight, and oh, guess what? You can do it twice, right? That is humongous for this Ginyu Force team / you know, Terrifying Conquerors team. So the mid-battle heal, I feel like, is something that people forget about. This is why people sleep on Tech Kefla, for instance, who has a 60% mid-battle heal. Now, I would certainly argue, you know, Tech Kefla / Tech Kalen Caulifla, they are definitely, you know, quite mid in terms of how mid units can get. They are certainly fairly mid. But I think that heal cannot be understated. And then Goku Ginyu, on top of that, dude, he stacks attack. He's building up attack and defense and dodge. Like, he can get up to a 50% chance to dodge himself. That's why, again, you know, the Ginyu Force matches up very well, is very favorable in this fight. Because all you have to do is they all have enough defense to where they can tank the Into Mega Shenron's normals. You just have to kind of get lucky and dodge that big old super attack that he does, right? That is really the key. You don't really need to tank it, right, if you can just dodge it. So that is kind of the key there, which is why they match up well in here. And then, of course, having double AGL units in here, plus an AGL Golden Frieza, of course, that's a really good matchup as well, because this STR Sin can be quite a nuisance, for sure. Big Papa Ginyu comes out, right? Goku Ginyu, man, this guy really is no joke. Now, luckily, we were low enough in the HP department to get that mid-battle heal. Again, I cannot understate the value of the mid-battle heal. But also not quite low enough to where we lose out on AGL Golden Frieza's passive. So that is, of course, very, very big. I believe we were just over 40% HP, I think. And either way, I suspect that I recorded this a few days back now. But I suspect that AGL Goku Ginyu is just able to kind of clean up Sin Shenron here, right? Yeah, he stacks up so quick, dude. Remember, this guy's Just stacking and stacking and stacking attack. And remember, on this first turn, just like the base form Ginyu, he is super effective against all types. All you need is one additional Ginyu Force member on the team. So that is, of course, really, really good. One other thing so that we've got going for us right now is we have the Dokkan attack right here in our back pocket. Now, I need to probably check the defense here. Flex, would you go ahead and check the defense? It looks like it doesn't really matter. I decided to just go ahead. I probably could have tanked Sin Shenron's normal there. In hindsight, definitely should have led off with Captain Ginyu there. We would have just got a bigger attack stat. Now, that being said, we're able to activate all 7 links there in the second slot. So I guess it's not the end of the world. Recoome and Goldo don't do the greatest damage in the world, but what are they rocking? Like a 4 million attack stat or something? Yeah, is that 4.2 million? Nice. So a 4.2 million attack stat, we have a fair chance of getting a crit or something, right? So I'm not sweating it too bad. But even if we end up taking damage on this turn, we're going to heal it back. And we know that Sin Shenron, he only just does the one big super attack on the countdown, right? And it's always in the same slot. So again, guys, let me know what you think of the Ginyu Force team down in the comments below. I certainly can acknowledge, I'm going to definitely be one of the biggest Ginyu defenders all the way until he gets his EZA, in 2026 or whenever he gets it. So I'm going to be one of the biggest Ginyu defenders, but I certainly can acknowledge that the boy has aged a little bit, right? He's not just absolutely just, slapping his nuts on every forehead of every boss in the game anymore, right? He does take some damage. It takes him a little while to build up. Goku Ginyu is not infallible to damage, right? Not with the likes of, like, the Metal Cooler Core and shit like that. When the Metal Cooler Core raises its attack, and after it super attacks the core, dude, it's just like there's really not too many units in the game that can withstand anything, right? So we can see here we did actually activate the 50% chance to get the Scouter. Remember that chance to Scouter activates when you've got Jice on the team with you. So Birder and Jice, of course, count. I would not dare bring STR Jice into any single event in the game. Looking at the Ginyu Force, I think we're kind of ready for some more, like, Planet Namek stuff. I could definitely see them, like, some of the actual Ginyu Force members getting more than a free-to-play unit, right? I think that we've got them all accounted for in dual units, for sure. But I could definitely see, one celebration if it's like a, what if they just drop, like, another Pod Frieza from Namek? And you've got, some of the individual characters, like, they drop, obviously they're not going to drop 4 banner units or something like that, but they could easily drop, like, a banner unit Jice, a banner unit Goldo, and then in a subsequent celebration, you drop Recoome and you drop Birder, something like that. You could easily do something like that. They would probably do Recoome and Goldo, and then they would probably do Birder and Jice, right? Those are kind of the pairs. And then, of course, we could get, like, a really nasty Ginyu, like, Captain Ginyu support unit. You could see there we did dodge the big super attack, right? So that was humongous. Obviously, if we don't dodge that, we die. I mean, the whole fight hinged on that one single attack, and now we're good to go. He's got 3 health bars left. I'm really not sweating it at all. I can lead off with whomever I want. I can kind of do whatever I want, because we are just absolutely in the clear. When Captain Ginyu starts getting, 700, 800, 900,000 defense, and then you decide to transform with him, that Goku Ginyu, he's got such a monster attack and defensive buff at start of turn. I mean, he can eclipse a million defense, right? He can tank AGL Broly. It's a matter of getting him there. You know what I mean? So let me know what you think of the Ginyu Force in the comments below. And remember, this is a maxed out Ginyu team, right? So we only have AGL Frieza. He's the only member of the team that's not on the Ginyu Force. And I think that this is really the way it was designed to be run. There's really no chance, dude, you should be running those free-to-play options. Recoome, maybe. Like, maybe you could run Recoome. He does have I believe it's is it the high chance or the medium chance to guard? And he can get to some respectable defensive levels, but I just think overall, you're really not running those free-to-play options. They just can't really be run in difficult content. Sorry, not sorry. That's why we need some more Ginyu Force units. So right here, we are actually not out of the woods yet. Y'all may recall that this Omega Shenron can dodge. So that, of course, could be incredibly problematic if he if he decided to dodge that 9 million attack stat. That could be a problem. You know what I mean? If then he dodged another one, and then he dodged Birder and Jice, and then that Tech Ginyu Force would not be able to take him down, and we would easily die. Easily, right? That Tech Ginyu couldn't withstand probably one normal from him. But luckily, we end up getting the fat W here. Again, this is going to be a video, and hopefully a series of videos where I can no-item these red zone stages with the Ginyu Force. Again, 1 down, several to go. What is that? 1 down, 3 to go. So we'll go ahead and see how it goes. Slap a like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing if you're new. Love all of you guys. Thanks for the support. Catch you in the next one. Later.